Have you got your tissues? Get them back out. Welcome in. It's the Sarah Fraser Show. Mondays on TSFS. You know, we are a daily pop culture podcast. And this week, oh boy, oh my God, we got a ton of developments in the Diddy trial. Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively case completely heating up. We will discuss all of that tomorrow. So a ton. David Yontef is here. Apparently, I haven't even kept up on this drama, but I've been getting messages. David Yontef has threatened to sue Kelly Dodd for defamation. I hope this lawsuit goes through. I want to testify. There's so much tea happening. So, of course, you guys subscribe, share the podcast with a friend, tell them about it. But on Mondays, when Sister Wives is happening, we recap. And throughout the week, we talk about some of the biggest tea in the Sister Wives space. But Mondays, we recap new episodes when Sister Wives is in season, and it is season 19, episode 24. Episode 24 aired last night, and it was Blessed Are Those Who Mourn. Now, it is a two-part. We might be even getting more than that. I have not seen the previews because my cut of last night's episode ended with obviously a notification about if you, someone you know, is having suicidal thoughts, to text or call 988. So I didn't see a preview. Maybe we're even getting a third episode talking more about the life of Garrison. But the past 2 weeks have been so emotional for those of us who have followed this family. And again, I thought last night's episode was fan-freaking-tastic. I thought TLC struck a great balance. The family struck a great balance of honoring this young man, making it known. And I think too, I don't know what it's like to be in a space of wanting to take my own life, but for anyone that's been there, for anyone that's thinking about it, my God, tune into these episodes because you see how much damage, how tragic it is for those of us left behind. So boy, I think this was incredibly done. Now, if anybody's going to have any critique of last night's episode, I think it's going to be around, did TLC, was it enough mourning? I thought what was great about last night's episode is TLC, I thought, really got to the pain and the impact and who Garrison was, while also kind of striking some comedic lighter moments. David Woolley being one of them. You know, David and Christine talking about Garrison's personality and how Garrison would often have an inappropriate joke, and David loved that, and he would be there for the laughter, and he believes that you have to laugh through the bad times in life too. And then also the show kind of was poking fun of and making fun of Kody when they're in Level, Wyoming, and Kody is taken the kids, he and Robin's kids, back to how his career began as a sign salesman, and the kids are bored to tears. So it seemed like they struck a balance. Now, how did you all feel? Did you all like that balance? I did. I think when you lose somebody, you all know I've had a lot of tragedy this spring, losing a dear cousin of mine who I was so close with. My gunkle George, who had a massive heart attack at 73, he was my favorite gunkle. I miss him constantly because once I moved to California 3 years ago, we talked on the phone all the time. And I'm also so grateful. You know, I moved to California later in life when I was 40, and I'm grateful beyond belief for that because I've spent so much of the first 40 years of my life with my family, my dear family. I still do, but living with them, near them in DC. So I could pop up to Connecticut all the time and see my gunkle. I could fly to Maine all the time, see my mom, my brother, my niece. So, I could relate. I could relate to that part of the grieving process. I also had another miscarriage, my fourth miscarriage in March. And so I could relate to their comedy, the comedic, especially with my Uncle George. George was such a trip and was really looking forward to someday coming on this show and sort of talking about this later in life, partying and like dating, I guess, and a whole lot of other stuff that was going on. The wild sex he was having at 73. Anyhow, woo! But we never made it that far. So I thought if anybody was going to have a critique of last night, it may be that. Curious to see how you all feel. You know, I'm going to be doing clips of this and reaction on the Sarah Fraser Show, TikTok and Instagram. But last night's episode, Blessed Are Those Who Mourn, loved the title, opens, of course, with the suicide announcement. You know, text, call. I mean, I can't stress it enough. Unfortunately, you know, for a long time, I didn't know anyone or anybody really close to me impacted by suicide. And then it's funny how something happens and then you know a lot of people. So that's where I'm at now. Unfortunately, I know too many people who have lost a spouse, a parent, a sibling. If you know somebody, I mean, even just even if you know somebody struggling, maybe with mental health, and it just pops in your mind, like maybe this person is thinking about it, text the suicide number to them. What do you have to lose? Them getting mad at you? So what? You know, I mean, better to be safe than sorry. You know, I know you can only do so much for adults. Garrison was 25 when he passed, and I do think last week's episode was so strong in all of them saying, we knew he was struggling. We offered help. We did everything we could. The boys would check on him, Gabe especially, you know, they would check on him, see if he was okay. Most of the time he was. The night he passed was like any other night. You know, he had been drinking. We knew it. We knew he was struggling with alcohol. They seemed to all basically even had confronted him about the alcohol. But for whatever reason, something had switched in the brain, you know? So I thought last week they did a great job of saying we knew there was something wrong and we offered him help. We did everything we could. So, you know, and again, fans, longtime people who have watched this show, especially in the recent years because of Kody and Robin's relationship and what is and what isn't happening, a lot of people have a lot of thoughts about that. But I thought that was really strong last night. The opening was very solemn. Beautiful music. And we open at Caleb and Maddie's home with Janelle. And Janelle is starting to plan the memorial service. And we hear her talking about his birthday had just passed and how difficult that was. Last night's episode, I really thought was a beautiful tribute to not only Garrison, but a mother's love. Oh, don't get me emotional. Ugh. A mother's love for her child. I'm a mom. I have a little boy. You know, you want their lives to unfold very easily. But I thought that's what last night's episode was really about, right? I think more, the prior week's episode was really kind of what had happened, what went wrong, and of course, the shock of all of them finding out the news. This week's episode was laying him to rest, and I think more of celebrating his life and trying to find that balance of moving forward, right? That's what I loved about last night. I think every single person had a comedic scene, and I thought Kody said it best. And I'm going to get to the exact quote because Kody said, I want the weekend in Level, Wyoming for us to have fun and laugh because that gives us faith that we can move forward and find a life that is going to forever be changed by losing Garrison, but we can find a way to move forward. I loved it. I thought it really struck a great balance and was quite deep for a show that, let's be honest, for the past couple of years has relied a lot on replays. Okay. Like it was. So we'll have some comedic moments here on TSFS. So Janelle, heartbroken about his birthday passing. Kody, we go to, he says that the sadness and the family, you know, finding that balance. The family came all together for the first time in a long time with Garrison's passing, and there was joy in that, and then sadness would creep up on him. And he grew up in Wyoming. The Browns, we find out last night. We knew this anyway, especially if you were a longtime fan, but for newer fans, the Browns, their roots are in and deep in Wyoming. Janelle talks to us and reminds us that Janelle's mom ended up marrying Kody and was not into polygamy until Janelle's mom married Kody. Janelle's mother and Kody's dad married. And Janelle's mama wasn't into polygamy until she met Kody's father, fell in love with Kody's father. Is this family tree not the wildest one? And gets more interesting. So they have their deep roots in Wyoming. And it seems as though last night we find out Kody and Janelle are on the same place about bringing Garrison home. Bringing him home and burying him with his grandparents. Oh, I get so emotional. Oh, Burying him with his grandparents next to them in Wyoming. Oh my gosh. Okay. Uh, I think I'm an emotional wreck because I've lost three loved ones, this spring. So like it brings it up for me. Anyhow, whew, that's why, thank God for the comedy that they brought last night. They're going back to Level, Wyoming. There's also a town over there, Kody, Wyoming, which we find is named for Buffalo Bill. We'll talk about that later on. So anyhow, they are going to go back. They're going to lay him to rest. And, Janelle wants him to be buried there too. She's on board with it. She's on board with the cremation. She also lets us know that she's already purchased a gravesite next to Garrison, and that's where she wants to be buried. But she does not want to be cremated. New school versus old school. I think everybody now wants to cremate people. I don't know. Then you can make their ashes into jewelry. I think that's what we're going to do with my Uncle George. Everybody seems to want to make stuff into jewelry. And there you go, right? But Janelle does not want that for her. All the Brown kids, like each other, we find out last night. We go to Christine and David, and we hear more of Christine processing this and how she thinks about Garrison every single day. And what she and Janelle disclosed to us is that the kids all came together and really like each other and talk. And they wanted to raise the kids together. And Garrison's passing has brought a lot of healing and a lot of reconnection. Now, the thing the show does not go into last night is what specifically that means. Is it with Kody and Robin? Is it amongst the siblings? I took away last night it was more amongst the siblings than it was necessarily with Kody and the kids. I don't know specifically all the statuses with Kody and his children, but I do know, we obviously know about Maddie saying recently and on her podcast, she does not have a relationship with him. So there's David Woolley. Thank God for David Woolley. The more David is on camera, the more I love him. And they talk about Garrison and how the jokes that Garrison would make, how much David would like them. And David says, tell me about him. Tell me more about him. Such a great scene. I loved it. Nothing is better than remembering and keeping a past loved one's memory alive than talking about them, putting their picture up, doing things that remind you. And so anyhow, and Christine confesses that, one of the things she's taken out of his death is that a month would go by and she hadn't talked to Garrison, and what a tragedy that was, and how she never wants that to happen again with her kids. And interestingly enough, David Woolley opens up about the suicide of his own wife. So I thought this was interesting. Christine marries a man whose ex-wife took her own life. And then, a year into her marriage, she is having so much fun with David in this connection. And here they are. He's almost a gift to her, helping her get through a loved one in her family committing suicide. Very brave. It had been 14 years, David tells us, and he still gets emotional about the passing of his ex-wife taking her own life. And Christine says that, all the warning signs had been there. And she too, kind of like Kody said the last episode, is going to be trying not to beat herself up or trying not to look back at all the warning signs and wondering if they could have done more. And she even alludes to the facts that there were text messages. We'd heard that after Garrison's passing, that there had been text messages. And again, the family's been pretty open about this, that he was texting things, saying things that really a lot of the family members had found alarming. And Christine the same. I can't remember if I knew that Garrison was going back to nursing school or not. I can't remember if I knew that, when he passed in 2024 or not. But they talk a lot about that last night. Christine says that they all need counseling. I thought that was freaking brave. The kids need it. David totally agreed. And I love David. The more I see David on screen, I'm like, what a find. Like how great it is the two of them have each other and how amazing he is on reality TV. Then we go to Meri and Jen. This is where it gets even more lighthearted. And Jen is making a joke. They're going through Lizzie's Heritage Inn. The girls don't like anything about that Heritage Inn. Now, it was old school. Meri's mama ran it. as a bed and breakfast. And it was, it's got the old doily drapes and a bunch of old rickety rackety furniture from the turn of the century that looks like it might have horsehair in the cushions. Like, honey, no. Okay. Like, I feel like I could say that because Meri and Jen are like, mm-mm. And Jen's like, so what are you going to do, Meri? Are the carpets going to match the drapes? And Meri is like, huh? Am I supposed to get this? And Jen's like, yes, you are. Like, thank God for Jen. I'm like, thank God for Jen. What am I, Teresa Giudice from New Jersey? Last night, I think we saw so many highlights of individuals that make this show great. Obviously, David Woolley. Obviously, Jen, who I was here for. I liked hearing from Savannah. I freaking loved the woman that ran the Humane Society. Like, she was 5-star on camera. So anyhow, Meri doesn't really know what it means when the carpets match the drapes or don't, okay? And so awesome comedic relief. I liked it. Jen to me is so real. And Meri just talks about, again, those moments trying to process Garrison's passing. One of the things that fans have said over the past 2 weeks is they're blown away at Meri's emotional, I guess, response, at how deep Meri was impacted by his passing and how much her emotion has really gotten to fans. I think all these individuals, and a little bit to the show's discredit, I feel like they are all very emotionally evolved, like very evolved, that they've done a lot of work on themselves, meaning Janelle, Christine, and Meri, okay? And I almost feel like that's not really highlighted a ton on the show. Again, maybe it's foreshadowing that we're going to get this spin-off show, or we're going to get, we're just going to continue to see where these women's lives go to. But anyhow, those scenes between Jen and Meri were great. And Jen is the one that told Meri the night that she found out that Garrison passed, just get food and go be with Janelle. That's what you do when someone dies. You get food, you go there, and you just sit with them, and you cry with them, and you just grieve with them. Loved it. Loved it. And Meri said, it was so great to see all the kids. Everyone was together except for one. And Meri breaks down. And that broke my heart. Broke my heart. And Meri says it's heartbreaking that him dying brought them together. His passing. And again, I would love to see a fast forward. I would love to hear more. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's been a lot of leaks from the Brown family. There haven't been a lot of interviews. Meri did a TikToker's TikTok live. Don't know if that was spontaneous or planned. Hasn't been a lot of leaks. Haven't been a lot of updates currently. So I don't know if that means closer to the one-on-ones we're going to see the family talk. We'll see. But they talked a lot more about memories. And Kody says that he was all memories of Garrison. And Kody reflects that Garrison was always testing out a joke. Garrison built truly planter boxes, Christine and David reveal. And those planter boxes are in David and Christine's yard to this day. And he loved working with his hands. It was just such a memorial episode, right? There was a lot going on in last night's episode, but really a great tribute. And Christine and David inform us that they make kind of a joke that Sedona Midnight was Garrison's stripper name. Everybody has a stripper name, which I always think was like the first name of your pet and the first street that you lived on. So mine was Katie Pleasant, was my stripper name. Sedona Midnight was Garrison's. And they have a plant in their yard that's a willow tree that they've named Sedona Midnight. I loved when Christine said this. It was so beautiful. And they just want to grow this big old willow tree. And as it gets bigger, you can just go under there and be engulfed and hugged by the tree. And if you need to talk to Garrison, there he is in their Sedona Midnight willow tree. Don't get me going. I'm 2 seconds away from bawling my eyes out. It was so sad. So that scene was great. We see a lot of Kody last night. And again, this will be controversial. I will get to this, but Kody admitting taking some responsibility here, I think, in maybe Garrison's mental state before he passed. And Christine says she doesn't know how to grieve. Honest. Loved it. Christine admits to us on camera last night she really doesn't know how to grieve, but she knows how to cook, she knows how to clean, and along the way, she will figure out her grief. And of course, she's got somebody, David, who's unbelievable, who's unfortunately been through it, been through a, suicide and grieving that with his ex-wife. Then we fast forward to 4 months later. So we know last night's episode started just about 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks after Garrison's passing. So that would have been, March 5th, 2024. So 3 weeks after would have been end of March. And then we get a graphic on last night's episode 4 months later. Okay, so let's say we're March 28th, right? Maybe April 1. We're all of April, May, June. We're into July. What had been circulated online, and even when Meri was did my podcast with her bestie Jen, that there was a family reunion, which is what we see in Level, Wyoming. Now, I sort of thought that happened in June, but I think the military funeral happened in June, which those pictures surfaced online. There's a lot of controversy around that funeral. A lot of stuff has come out about that, a lot of leaks. First of all, those pictures, apparently the family didn't know this, but the National Guard that put on that service in Nevada, because Garrison had military service, posts pictures of all of the family, every memorial that they do, right, for a soldier that has passed. The family apparently didn't know that, and those pictures were posted up online and went viral, right? Family didn't know that was going to happen. There's also a lot of other controversy coming out. Without a crystal ball, our girl Katie Joy had a story this week popping off that we do know for a fact, because Mykelti has addressed it on her Patreon, that Mykelti and Tony had a falling out with Robin and Kody over something that happened at Garrison's passing. Well, according to Katie, and without a crystal ball, the reason for that, she spoke to someone directly associated with the funeral arrangements, was that Kody and Robin were actually not invited, and in fact showed up with microphones on to record. Again, this is coming from her IG. I haven't looked a lot into it. I don't know fully her sources, but a lot of her stories are very accurate. So, that is apparently what happened. And that people are really citing what they were wearing, because everybody at Garrison's funeral wore either a Hawaiian shirt, a Hawaiian tie. Kody was not wearing that. A lot of people feel that is accurate, and they were not invited. And that was the reason. And then they showed up unannounced, mic'd up with cameras, and it all went down. So anyhow, that's where that's at. But we fast forward to 4 months, and it's July-ish, 2024, post-military funeral, that those pictures were public. Garrison's been cremated, and Kody and Robin drive him to Wyoming with the family. He was their passenger to lay him to rest. Kody says grief is like an anxiety attack for him. He says and this is the thing, Kody admits on camera last night, there was so much left unsaid and undone. And what I will say is, I know a lot of people dislike Kody and Robin. A lot of people do. My ask, I guess, of people is, I think that Kody has admitted a lot over these past 2 episodes that he has made major mistakes in his son's passing. He's beating himself up. He's playing the what if game. I mean, my God, he's so emotional last night too. I just guess I'm asking from people, what more do you want from Kody? To me, I think it's quite brave and quite showing grief that he's admitted over these past 2 episodes that he's made major mistakes, and he hates the way his life ended, Garrison's. And he's playing what if. What if he'd called him that day? What if, the COVID stuff was stupid? He regrets that. And I thought you saw more of that last night. So Garrison's going to be buried in Level. Now, this is where I think that TLC throws in some other humor, right? I mean, I don't know that Kody and Robin were trying to do this, but we go back to Level and we find that Kody, of course, a lot of people that knew the show know he's been in sales for a long time. Back in the day, he was selling signs. And we go back to the town, and Kody wants to give the kids, Saul and Ariel and Bree, Anna, and the whole crew, he wants to give them a tour of the signs that he did. Okay. So these kids are so bored. They are so bored. Their faces, the producers like do Kody and Robin dirty. They oh my God, they show the kids' faces up close. None of them are interested. They all look like they could fall asleep. I thought it was a great way actually to honor Garrison because Garrison, as we know, is a jokester. He liked a funny innuendo. I mean, I thought the camera angles, and then they even kind of do a speed up because Cody's like, I'd like you all to look at this. This was the first sign I sold here to the Seidel saddlery. And let me tell you, the inner workings, or as they call it, the guts, like none of the kids give a rip. They're like, Dad, this is so boring. And I just thought, what a great way to honor Garrison. They even do like a fast forward where, everybody's like losing energy and Cody's still yakking on. I liked it. Great comedic break. Then we go to Keith Seidel Saddlery, which is the company that Kody sold the sign to. And Ari wants, of course, Ari is the most bougie reality kid on TV. The most bougie. This chick, she's getting, last episode or 2 episodes ago, she was getting a makeup vanity. The kid's all of like 9 years old. So she can she can do videos of her Sephora hauls. Now she walks into a saddlery where, by the way, Keith informs us that his saddles go from anywhere from, like they're showing these saddles and Cody's like, so Keith, what do these saddles go for? I'm thinking in my head, like 2,500, 3,000. I'm looking at it like that's what I'd pay for it. And he's like, well, this one's 25,000 and the one over here is 50. I'm like, I mean, I ain't paying that to put on a barrel racer. I'll tell you right now. Like, nope, pass. Keith, where can I find yours pre-owned, buddy? Ari jumps right in. When that guy drops 50K, Ari's like, oh, these are beautiful. Robin's like, there she goes. I'm like, she probably has a horse, this kid. This kid is probably already doing Western competitions. Like, of course this chick wants like a $50,000 saddle. I was blown it, okay? Then they go out in the parking lot. They get in a damn stagecoach that's hanging out level. And we do hear from Robin. Robin has emotion. I know she's broken up. You can debate if you see the tears or not. But anyhow, Robin is sad throughout this and says, she's truly, really worried about Kody. So that kind of concludes their level Wyoming stay. Now, I will say last night, and I mean, obviously this was so well done, I thought, but we did not see the actual memorial. I did kind of wonder if we were going to get that. If we were going to see maybe the family all coming back together. Now, why did we not see that? Obviously, this is super tragic. Maybe the family came together collectively and did not want that shown. Maybe the healing, like I said, with the family came with the siblings being reconnected. Most of them are not paid to be on the show, so maybe they didn't want it filmed, and maybe it's less of the former wives and Kody and all of them having a connection. I don't know. We don't see any of the memorial. We don't see, we do see a shot of the graveyard where he is going to be, or the cemetery where he's going to be buried, that kind of thing. But we don't see the actual coming together of what they did. We pop over to Savannah. Savannah, too, is leaving Flagstaff. She's going to be moving to North Carolina. And we find out that Janelle and Savannah are all going to be living with Caleb and Maddie. Hey now, full house. Maddie is down for it. Got to say, Maddie's a good sister to allow all of that. And, just last night, so many scenes for Janelle, so difficult. And I mean, they picked cameras back up. We know Meri was filming when she found out. And then, cameras were picked up a couple weeks later and then months later. So we really see the grieving process. And the kids talk about the cats that Garrison adopted. Miss Buttons, Cathew, Patches. He had 3 cats. All of them came from High County Humane Society in Arizona. And Savannah and Janelle, as we end and wrap up last night's episode, are going to the Humane Society because they have heard that thousands of dollars in donations from worldwide, from fans and from his nursing school pals have come in. And before we get to that scene, we do wrap up with a little wind down of Kody and Robin's time in Wyoming, and we find out that Kody was actually named after Buffalo Bill, Bill Frederick Kody, uh, became Buffalo Bill, and Cody's dad loved Buffalo Bill, who obviously in Kody, Wyoming was named after Buffalo Bill, and so was Kody. Cody's father changed it from a C to a K so it would be more unique. And Kody is reflecting on the legendary Buffalo Bill, who was a showman and a performer, back in the day, and obviously traveled and was like a sharpshooter and all these things. So he's like, do you think I have anything in common with Buffalo Bill? He was a showman. He was kind of a ladies' man. And Cody's like, I don't think so. I don't think so. And Robin's like, oh, he had 4 wives. Yeah, I think you're a ladies' man and you're a bit of a showman. Let's be honest. Perhaps one of the greatest showmen. You've managed to succeed and be on television for 15 years. Yes, honey, you are a showman. I hear about Kody when you meet him in real life, incredibly charismatic. So that was an interesting little legend I didn't know about. And a little bit of lightheartedness, right? We're kind of poking fun at Kody. And we talk about the gravesite and the service that is going to happen. And this is where I lost it. Kody also starts crying. And Kody says, we are mourning, but we also wanted to have happy memories that weekend because the happy memories are the ones that give us faith to move forward. And I thought that was like beautifully said. I thought it was beautiful. Every time Kody, all of them cried. Meri, Janelle. I mean, Janelle, once you're a mother, it's like, oh man, you just don't go back from, how hard it is. Having children, worrying about them, and you just always pray that you go way before they do. But I loved the way Kody said that. And, he said that he's really trying to make his blood sweet instead of bitter. This to me seems like a bit of a different Kody. I know off of the television, a lot of people disagree. I know there is a lot out there online about how Kody and Robin have been these past couple of episodes and dissecting them, but I tend to not get too deep into that. I just am going by what they give us on TV. Are they good people? I have no idea. I don't know them personally. So we find out that this whole movement of donations to High County Humane Society come from his fellow Garrison's fellow nursing students. I don't think I ever knew that, and it completely snowballed. I don't think I ever knew any of that. So totally snowballed. And then obviously we know fans. Now I sort of thought that they would recognize like the fans of the show. Maybe they don't want to break that fourth wall by talking to us directly. But, Janelle did allude to the fact that it snowballed. Donations came in worldwide. I think that was a bit of a mention, but I did think they might say more. And this scene, I lost it. I mean, Janelle walks into the Humane Society. She cannot even speak to the front receptionist. Savannah has to be her voice because it was too hard to come there to begin to see the room that they dedicated to Garrison. Because Garrison's death raised $25,000, probably more by now. And they have a room where people who are getting ready to adopt cats come to try to bond with the cat. It's a very special room. The director lets us know of the Humane Society. The director was 5 stars. So good. So good. And look, I mean, I know she's on camera 4 minutes. You're probably saying to yourself, Sarah, like, come on, bitch. Like, how much could she mess it up? But I just thought she handled Janelle well, was sensitive about it. And he loved helping people. We go to Meri. I lose it again. Meri is such a sweetie. And she says about Garrison, what a sweetie. Here he is. All he wanted to do was help people. And he took in these cats that had been abandoned or abused. And he just wanted to help people. And then we go to Gabe. And I lose it even more. Oh my God, Gabe. Which we do have an update on how Gabe's doing. I'm going to talk more about that tomorrow on the podcast. And we know that his Garrison siblings took the cat. Kathy was taken by Gabe. And Kathy was, it sounds like almost Garrison's favorite. And since Garrison's passing and the donations, 36 cats were adopted. It was a record a record month, March 2024, for the Humane Society, and all the fees were waived thanks to the donations for Garrison's passing. Oh my God. And Gabe at the end looks brokenhearted. I mean, who can't relate to this? I mean, it was so sad. It's like the family is saying how wonderful this was, but like they don't want to be there. They want him to still be here on earth, helping people, being present for them and their family, helping them. Such a juxtapose of feelings. Here's Janelle, this mother who's so happy that so many things have happened since his death. And also, like she said, and then I'm constantly reminded that he's dead. Oh, the ending, so beautiful, so beautiful. I just thought it was great. You know, they just end in this room, like talking about how wonderful it is. So that was it. For last night. I don't have a preview. I did not get the preview. It was cut off from my episode, but could be more. And there you have it. It was so good. Oh my God, I'm a mess. What a beautiful tribute. So we will see. You guys may have seen the previews if we are going to see even more. We know when the show came back, we were going to get 9 episodes. So we are 3 in. We have 6 more to go. And from what I'm hearing, 4 of those are the one-on-ones with Suki. So if you do the math, we have 2 more of the family. So what are those going to be? Is that going to be more of life after Garrison? Are we going to be, I would think, are we going to see more of what the healing is that the family has done and come together? We will see. But what did you think of the episodes? Head to my social media at the Sarah Fraser Show on TikTok, on Instagram. I'll be popping in with videos all this week and new episodes. But what an episode. Okay. Love you all. Thank you for subscribing to the podcast. Also, it's the first of the month. Our coffee mug giveaway is going on. All you have to do, go to Apple. Do not go to Spotify because they don't allow you to write a written review. Go over to Apple and hit 5 stars. Tell me what you love about the podcast. Maybe something you would fix. Screenshot your review, slide into my DMs everywhere, TikTok, Instagram. You can email thesarahfrasershow@gmail.com. Email me the review with your address, and we will send you a free Sarah Fraser Show coffee mug. Boom, you can see it on my YouTube right now. Just leave a review, screenshot it, slide in, or email me thesarahfrasershow@gmail.com, and a free coffee mug coming your way so we can sip the tea while we're spilling it. Bye, everybody.